All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to jump right into this. And we are at the number one top 10 job interviews for tips for 2021. Again, number one, top 10 job interview tips for 2021. And again, I'm not going to cover all of these. I'm not going to also cover the summary, title, and slide just because, again, I covered it in the first video where I covered number 10 and number 9. You can either pause it here, you can go back and watch that. And if you haven't watched the prior ones, go back and watch each one, because a lot of times what I'll do, even in the summary that I'll do right now also for all top 10 before I get to number one, sometimes I'll think of something that I didn't cover and I'll throw it in there, and there's good things in there and good nuggets that you might want to consider and add. So I encourage you to go through. And before we get started, also, if you know of somebody that's getting ready to interview, or maybe you are, but if you know of somebody who is and you feel like this might be useful for them, maybe it's the first time they're interviewing or they haven't interviewed in a while, share this with them. Encourage them to watch not only this one, but watch all of the top 10s that I've done. Also, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and hit the alert button. I appreciate that as well. I'm just going to, again, briefly cover the prior top 10s. And before we get to number one here, I won't spend a ton of time on these. Show up early if you have an in-person interview, or log in early. And you can pause this, or I encourage you to listen to number 10 and number 9. Don't be too early. And even if you are early, just hang out, sit in your car. Don't log in too early, though. Number 9, make sure your technology is working. If you have not tested your technology to make sure that it's working on the platform they're asking you to join in on, not a good thing. Don't do it the morning of, because sometimes you might have to update your operating system. That could take hours. You want to do it the day before minimum that you have a job interview, right? Sometimes you can't make it work, and it's best for you just to use your phone if possible. But again, make sure that you take care of that ahead of time. Be precise with your answers. Don't be give one-word answers, and don't be too long-winded, right? Make it dialogue. Gather your thoughts prior to answering. Don't just jump off and jump in. If you're not clear on the question, it's okay to pause. Ask them, at the end of your answers also, if this is what they were looking for, and give them the chance to either dig a little bit deeper or maybe hit on something. But again, pause, make sure you gather your thoughts. It's okay. Don't throw shade. Don't throw shade and hate. Make sure that you aren't throwing your prior company, your prior boss, your prior team under the bus in the examples you're giving. This is an art. You need to figure out how to, everyone knows that every team, every company has its warts, has its issues. So you need to figure out how to state things in a way that's not going to be offensive or give people pause to want to hire you, because it comes across like you're throwing them under the bus and, it's everybody else's fault but your own. And by the way, own things. If you make a mistake and you've learned from it, and you can show that you've course corrected and how you handle it in future events, that's okay too. We're all human. You can go ahead and make mistakes as long as you're getting better and showing self-improvement. If you've made a mistake and fumbled something but can show that you've improved on that, that shows that you have the capability and the aptitude to learn and improve. And that's something I want to see and I want to hear about. I want to hear that you're humble enough to actually take ownership of things. Have a standing list of good questions that you want to ask the hiring companies, right? You should go in with the attitude that this is not them just interviewing you, but you're interviewing them. It should be a good fit. Don't just take something that's not going to be a good fit. I guarantee you don't want to have a lot of brain damage at the end of the day walking into a situation where it is not a good fit for the variety of reasons that it could not be a good fit. Number 4, groom yourself. Dudettes, take a shower, shave. Ladies, if you want to shave your legs, that's on you. But, again, I'm not going to go there. Anyway, clean yourself up, brush your teeth, make sure you feel good about yourself, wear a coat and a tie, or look presentable. You can never unring the bell of first impressions. I guarantee you don't want to do it. I'd rather have you go in overdressed than underdressed. Doesn't matter what the interviewing team's wearing. You need to go in and make sure you look presentable and professional. Don't wear stained shirts or ties. Don't do it. Run it to the dry cleaner, or at least wash it yourself and then iron it. Put a little starch on that bad boy. Look sharp, look crisp. Make sure your collars aren't, flying all over the place. And if you have the capability and you have the, the wherewithal and the funds to do that, might not be worth a bad idea to invest in yourself, right? If you have the money for a new suit, go do that. I'm not telling you to buy the most expensive suit, but sometimes it doesn't hurt to update your wardrobe a little bit. You're investing in yourself and your future. Number three, never ever use your internal computer, microphone, and speakers. It's just a no-no. Those things are crap. They're garbage, and you don't want to use them. It's going to cause you to not be heard necessarily. I mean, it's going to cause issues potentially with reverberation and just feedback, and that's not what you want. You only have a short period of time to sell yourself. You don't want to be spending that time dealing with, technology issues of, especially when it's something, as simple as not using your computer microphone and speakers. And then number two, know your own resume. You should know the thing like the back of your hand, inside and out, and then print it off. Make sure it's right there. Don't use the electronic version because you don't want to accidentally click off your screen, or then if you're trying to get back to your screen because you're using a soft copy on your computer, you accidentally hit the X button where you exit out of the application or the program that you're using for your interview. If you can keep it on, and at the forefront of your computer, and then move your window up to the top where your camera is also, you want to do that. But if you can at all avoid switching windows during your interview, you want to do that, and just have it printed out. Either if you can tape it to the side, or have it laying down next to you so it's easily accessible. You can just give it a quick glance in case you have to look at something to kind of verify, or maybe they're misreading your resume. You want to be able to do that. And then the last and the most important thing that I want to encourage you to do, we're at number one: never ever lie about your experience and your resume. So, two reasons I'm going to tell you this, right? Number one, you need to operate with integrity. It will always come back to bite you in the butt if you're lying, right? And if you're padding your resume, right? Maybe you have enough experience with something that you're going for that, extended job, but you still never ever want to lie. You want to give current experience about a position that is an advancement for you, that resonates, that aligns with the position that you're going for, right? You don't have to have done it before, but a lot of times you might be interviewing internally, and they want to have you give examples of how you're already doing the job, by the way, which is something that I'll cover in a future top 10 in terms of how to advance. But that's what you want to do, right? And so I'm going to cover it actually in the next top 10, right? You want to basically have the experience and not lie about things, because a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, maybe I'll start here. You are probably going to be interviewed at some point in time with a subject matter expert that's going to ask you some detailed questions that, if you don't know your business and know your stuff, they'll know. Everybody knows. I ask specific pointed questions if I'm interviewing other project managers or delivery leads for the programs that I'm running, in terms of how they handle specific questions, or about, PMI methodology that, I want them to see, or agile or waterfall. And I want to hear, what it is they're looking for. And I'm not looking for a tech lead necessarily. I'm not looking for a project coordinator. I want to see that you know what I'm talking about. And I will ask very detailed, pointed questions, and I'll know within 5 minutes whether you're telling me the truth or not, right? And it's going to be the same thing, whether it's a business process or whether it's a technical process. You do not want to lie. You're going to count yourself out. Now, you may say to yourself, yeah, but I got to go for it. I got to get a job. I understand that, but you want to get the right job, right? And so you want to go in and you want to make sure that you're being truthful about your experience. And if you can leverage your experience from, prior positions or prior experiences to show that you can do it, maybe that'll get you by. But you don't want to go in lying, because as soon as I find out that somebody's not being truthful with me about their experience, I'm not calling them back. It's done. I know. You're not going to fool anybody. The second thing is, maybe you do con people into, and you can, you speak well enough, and you can, talk well enough or speak the language well enough, and you go in there and you do it. But then when you actually get into the job and you don't know how to do some of those things, or you're, underskilled in terms of what the job is that you're applying for, that's never going to end up well either. I'm telling you that you're going to be performance managed out, or the boss is just not going to, you're not going to have advancement opportunities. If you're having your teammates or have to have your boss kind of cover for you to do things, it never ends well. I can assure you. I've had those bad hires where they've snowed me, right? They've had a good resume, they did decent enough on the interview, and then they get in and they have no idea what they're doing. And I tell you what, there's not a lot of love at the end of that relationship when I have to performance manage somebody else. So it just takes away from the joy of what could be work, you know. And again, I try and, you know, set up work environments where it's fun to come in, right? I want to have as little brain damage as possible. If you work with me or on my team or for me, you know, I want to try and make it as enjoyable as possible. But if you make me performance manage you, it does not make me a happy camper. And I can know most people are like that who are, you know, managing, you know, team and team members. So it's just not a good situation. Don't do it. Live with integrity, and it'll pay off in the long run. Even if you have to start back, your opportunity will come. Be excellent and great at what you're currently doing, and your opportunity will come. For the next top 10, we're going to be covering the top 10 things you can do to advance at work. And I just covered a little bit of things, but a couple of topics there. But and this is going to be 2021, because again, we are pretty much winding up 2020, and it's gone by quickly, hasn't it? So again, if you know somebody who's getting ready to interview, you know, shortly, or can use this, hasn't either interviewed for a while because they've had one position or is new to the workforce, I think these are probably good, healthy tips for them to consider, and for them to view these videos. So do me a favor, share that with them, and then do me another favor, hit that subscribe, give me that thumbs up, like as well, and then also hit that alert button. And we will talk to you on the next series. Top 10 things, Uncle Paul's top 10 things you can do to advance at work in 2021. So I'm going to stop sharing. You guys have a wonderful rest of the day, week, weekend, whatever we're heading into.